Welcome to What's Up Weekly, where today I will be beating Pat on eating a donut off a string.
Welcome to What's Up Weekly, Season 3, Episode 1. Today is Tuesday, November 5th. We're glad that you've joined us here for our short web show about all things related to children and student ministry here at Southgate. My name is Pat Cook. I'm the pastor of student ministries on staff, and one of our co-hosts for the last 2 years was Pastor Brian Solomon. But now that he's transitioning to another ministry, we've brought in a new co-host, Caleb Mounts.
Hey Pat, happy to be here. Very excited.
Caleb's a member here at Southgate, one of our children's ministry volunteers. And he and I would love to share with you all the information about upcoming events, discipleship tips, and as always, we like to play some sort of fun, entertaining, and embarrassing game as well.
I like to say, if I can do half as good a job as Pastor Brian did, I think we'll be all right. So Brian, thank you for all your work. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. One thing we like to do at the beginning of each episode of What's Up Weekly is celebrate the National Day. And today is the National Day of Donuts. Doesn't get much better than that.
So good. Very good breakfast food.
Caleb, if somebody were to ask you, what is your favorite Schuler's donut? What would you say?
Oh, just the classic chocolate-covered cream filled. Been eating that since 6th grade Sunday school.
Wow.
So, very good.
I would say the pumpkin donut. The sad news is you only get that like 2 months a year, but I make it count during those 2 months. So stay tuned. We are going to play a game related to donuts later in the show. Moving on to some logistics in student ministry. We just wrapped up our annual fall retreat this past weekend and had a great time at Scioto Hills Camp down in Southern Ohio. Our next youth event is going to be our annual Christmas party. That's taking place on Saturday, December 14th from 5 to 8 p.m. We ask that students bring a food item to share and then a small gift for our gift exchange. Registration is available on our church website, and even though that there's no financial cost for the event, we do ask that students register before the 14th.
Along that same line, I want to take a minute to talk about the new Journey ministry here at Southgate. At the beginning of the fall, we rebranded the iGrow ministry to Journey. With Pastor Brian transitioning to his new job, we decided to just take a moment, take the opportunity to kind of revamp that. The Journey ministry runs from about the 10 o'clock hour to about 10:50. We feel that it's important that the children are in the service for the worship portion.
Absolutely.
Want to see their parents, the adults in their lives, singing, praising God. So after that, we do a little huddle down at the altar, essentially, for all the kids to come down to get prayed for whoever's preaching, usually Pastor Bobby, to just give them a word of encouragement, a prayer, and to send them off into the Journey Children's Worship Hour. The general morning walkthrough is pretty straightforward. They get there, little intro, little icebreaker game sometime, going in. The focus has actually been changed a little bit to more on scripture memory. So going over the particular verse that deals with the section or the story that we're talking about. The lesson is also a review of what the kids went over last week in the Equip You Hour.
Okay.
So it's been a good time. We've had a great start. A lot of new kids and new faces, which has been exciting, get to know them. And then lastly, like we do in this show, we play a game. Generally, we do games and activities that are tilted for social development, physical development, and also a little bit of learning. So just a good time there for Journey. Parents, if you have any questions on a Sunday morning where your kids will be, we are in the fellowship hall. And if you have any questions, the leaders of Journey wear generally a blue t-shirt with the Journey logo on that, so look for them.
That's great. One thing we like to do during our episode, after we share some logistics with you, is share some encouragement. That's usually found in the form of a discipleship tip, a parenting resource, or something that you can try and implement in your home as you seek to raise your kids in the gospel of Jesus Christ. So we actually got a lot of great feedback recently when we put out that survey to parents, a lot of suggestions or questions that they would like us to talk about. But always, if you have a specific topic in mind, please be sure to contact us. We'd love to talk about that in a future discipleship segment on What's Up Weekly.
Yeah, and Proverbs 22:6 says to train up a child in the way they should go. And so we want to focus on the training aspect. And so what does that really mean? And what we want to do is be able to, as this show, to communicate to parents on ways that they can effectively communicate the gospel to their kids, to teach, to impart the knowledge in their own lives to their children. Continually, we'll be doing some tips and tricks, as Pat said, as well as resources that we've read through, looked at, have appraised, and then just taking the opportunity to just give words of encouragement as well, because parenting is a hard job. And so we want to make sure that if you're the single mom staying at home, you're the working moms in the workplace, or just as dads and fathers, just to be able to encourage you to keep going, to keep slugging it out, and that the kids are a worthy investment in your life.
Absolutely. Lastly, we like to go into a fun game.
All right.
This week's game is called 8-Bit. This is a food-related challenge. So hold tight while we set up for this first edition of 8-Bit.
3, 2, 1.
All right, for this week's 8-Bit challenge, it's the classic donut on a string game. We must, with our hands behind our back, eat the donut off the string. The donut falls on the ground. You must continue to eat it. You may pick it up off the stool, put it on the counter. The first person to finish their donut is the winner and wins 1 point towards the standings. Our
good.
video producer, Riley Oakes, will give us the countdown, and then we will begin.
3,
This is for you, Brian.
1. Game begin.
Go! And the winner! Woo! That feels good.
It's the seat. It's the seat. We'll switch seats next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Woo, we'll see you next week.